welcome to my August wrap up. I read 8 books this month, which was pretty good for me. That's like my average. We'll start off with the first book I read, which was Fast to Die. I was buddy reading this with Connor, the very much anticipated Women's Murder Club series. So excited to read this. I absolutely loved it. I have a dedicated review to it on my channel. I'll link that down below. I gave it 4 stars. It was great. Then we had Galley-a-thon, which for the first time I participated in. And I managed to read, well, I read 2 books and I DNF'd 2 books. Wasn't a great start for Galley-a-thon for me. So first of all, I read Athena's Choice. I actually listened to the NetGalley audiobook and it's pretty good. It's set in the future and men don't exist anymore. Men are gone, wiped out from existence. And there's a project. The project is to bring men back and it gets sabotaged. We follow this girl who's having these weird dreams. There's killings and murders going on and she's having these weird dreams about who the killer is. So she gets enlisted to help save the project and find out who the killer was. It was alright, it wasn't bad. I gave it a 3 stars. Then I had Winter of the Wolf, which follows this girl who's just lost one of her older brothers. It looks like he's committed suicide, but she thinks different. He had these beliefs and she thinks that something else went on relating to those beliefs. And so she goes on this journey to find out what actually happened that night. And I was really enjoying it. Like, it was very sad and you could really feel the grief, and I was getting a bit emotional during it. And I enjoyed the first 75%. I thought it was amazing. It was brilliant. And then we got to the ending and it was rubbish. I hated the ending. It felt so completely out of place compared to the rest of the book. I was expecting something a lot more related to like the brother's beliefs that he had before he died, and when it turned out that that wasn't the case, like that his death was just completely unrelated, I was just like, that just ruined the book for me. But so I ended up giving it a 3 stars. And next we have The Bro Code, and boy did I regret requesting this arc because the characters were so misogynistic, and like the main trio of boys that we like see, like they just kind of blended together into one character, and that I just really couldn't like them. They were all just annoying and just a big bunch of idiots. I just did not enjoy reading the characters, and I couldn't tell who was who because they all sounded the same, and there was no plot. I couldn't see a plot, couldn't find a plot, looked everywhere for the plot, but there was no plot. So I DNF'd that at like 23% because I could not carry on with it. Next we have The Bear, which is a story based on the current pandemic, which I thought could be really interesting. I know that some people might be a bit sensitive because, you know, depends on how you're dealing with the pandemic in the world at the moment. I felt okay reading it, but it was the portrayal of the mental health and things like that I just couldn't. It was just a mess. It was just a big mess, and it just didn't feel like there was, I don't know, it just didn't feel very well put together. I didn't enjoy the characters. Like, I know that mental health makes you different and act different towards the people you love, but I just didn't feel any sympathy or compassion for the characters at all, and it just, yeah, it didn't. I just regret it. I DNF'd it at 35%. I put myself through hell to try and read it because I wanted to finish 3 books of Galley-a-thon, but I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. The next book I read was Loveless, which that was the group buddy read for this booktubers group chat that I'm in, and oh my god, I loved this book so much. This was straight up 5 stars. I loved it. It was so emotional, and it took me like on a personal journey, because we follow Georgia, who's going to university with her two best friends, and she's trying to she's never been in love, she's never been kissed, and she wants that. She is in love with the idea of love, and she wants that for herself. But when she's going to uni and she's trying to find it, like, she makes some decisions that aren't so great, and things with her friends become really bad and chaotic, and then she finally discovers things about herself, like her sexuality, and that journey in itself was so emotional, and you could see the struggle that she was going through. I feel like it was enlightening to see the struggle, because it's very realistic, and honestly, it was just amazing. And I loved the friendship between Georgia and Rooney. Like, I love their friendship, and it was just such a beautiful book. And Sunil, oh my god, I love him. He is the best character. He's adorable, and this was just such a brilliant read, and it made me realise some things about myself, like in my past and things, and peer pressure and things like that. And honestly, I did get emotional. I did cry a few tears during this book, and I would definitely recommend you read it, because it was just so enlightening and amazing, and definitely deserves the 5 stars. The next book I read was a NetGalley arc, which I got accepted after Galley-a-thon, of course, but it was a Mythopedia, and it was brilliant. The art, the illustrations, it was brilliant. There was so much colour, and I was just so, like, engaged with, like, all the little myths and stories and the creatures, and honestly, I want a volume 2 already, and the first one isn't even out yet. And like, there's myths and tales like from all over the world, and yeah, it's like a brilliant read. And it was quick, and it looks beautiful, and I want it on my shelf. Yeah, I gave that one a 4 stars. And the last book that I read this month was a big chunker. It was The Priory of the Orange Tree, and it is like 848 pages, I want to say, and that includes a glossary at the back and character descriptions and things like that. It gives you like a whole list of like the characters and stuff, and there's like over 100 characters in this book, and it's insane. This book is insane, and it's amazing. I loved the political elements to this fantasy story, because we have like 2 sides. We have East and West at the beginning, and I think we get chapters like in the South as well. We follow like all these different paths of all these different characters, and it's actually really amazing, and I actually really did fall in love with this book, and I think I will definitely have to reread this, because there's so much to take in. I feel like you need to reread it a couple of times to really get the full story and the full like impact of the story, though I did like feel the emotions and things like during some of the parts of this book. It was super. It was lovely and awesome, and I loved it, and it was a 5 star, obviously, because when can I give a fantasy less than 5 stars? Never. Anyways, that is my August wrap up, so I'll see you guys in the next one.